Good evening, everybody. It is 11:10 p.m. on a Friday night, Friday the 13th, November 2020. I'm here late this evening because I got a message in a vision from the Holy Spirit to share with you today that I was going to wait until tomorrow to record because it was late. And as I sat there this evening, um, I just had to get it to you. I just couldn't not do it. So here we are. This was a big message. Now, the other messages that I have been transmitting through Facebook and other social media that I have that were posts and not videos have all been in relation to the election resolution timeline and everything that's going on with that. So, this there have been some shifts in the last couple of days. And many of you have already felt those shifts. Not necessarily sure what they were, but you could feel that there was a shift in the energies and the focus going on. So what I want to share with you tonight is what I received yesterday. I had some inner work or energetic inner work going on. So I didn't have a message. I wasn't given one. I was told, take a break. You're doing enough stuff right now. But I wanted to let everybody know that no, there wouldn't be a message. And as I went to post that, what came to me was a vision of a huge bucket of popcorn. And then it kind of transposed into a vision, outline of the US with popcorn going up all over the place. That was what I got. So that, if I take it in relation to what I've gotten tonight, I hope that you don't get dizzy easily on on rides and you don't get car sick when you're facing backwards or reading a book, because I got to tell you, we are in for the ride of our lives, peeps. So, when I sat down to receive this message this evening, the very first thing that I got, one, this message is not limited to the election resolution timeline. And just so you know, that when I get my readings and visions, I work with timelines. I am reading timelines and the patterns, all right, that are being woven and written. I don't get a lot of specific detail. The detail I got tonight was more than I usually get. So there is tons going on, and let's just get into it. So the first vision that I got tonight in relation to the Ascension timeline, which is all of us rising up together into 5D, right? And we are in 5D, but we are kind of cooking in the 5D vibrational frequencies and cooking uh, out, having to get used to it, acclimating. There's a lot that has to happen in order for us to be fully rooted in the 5D Earth timeline. So the very first image that I got was of a bullet train. And I mean, that son of a gun was shoo, it was moving. And as soon as I saw that, before I could even say the words, it switched to a vision of the you've seen how NASA trains astronauts and they put them in the GForce acceleration chamber where it just spins around and around and around and around and around. The G forces get higher and higher and higher and provide more force, right? Well, that's what I was shown. And I was shown that spinning around and the pressure being applied, and the words G force came to me. And so, it's just like we are going to be really we're going to be put through the ringer, and really there's a lot of pressure that's going to be applied to us. And this isn't really it's going to be harrowing, right? Imagine yourself in that G-force training unit. It's not going to be pleasant for the most part. I mean, there's so much going on that it's going to be tough. And the vision that I got alongside of that, with that G-force accelerator, was hang on a second, for some reason, my headphones want to just decide to fall off. Okay. So the other part of the vision that I got with the G-force accelerator was just watching the people in the accelerator just start to have sort of these globs of black tar coming out of their pores, just sweating this black tar, just coming out, running out of them. And of course, the black tar represents, in this case, fear and negative energy and density that we're holding on to. So part of what's happening is that we're going through experiences that are going to be really, really, really intense, provide a lot of pressure to us, and the purpose of that pressure is to leach this stuff out, to press it out. It's like pressing the oil from the olives. You got to press that out to press the oil out. Only, the oil is the stuff that you want in that case. But in this case, we're going to get rid of the fear energy. But you get to a point where you finally release all of that is holding fear in you, all of that black yuck, the tar-like substance. It's not black goo. Don't go there. That's not it at all. Um, but it was represented to me in this vision as a tar-like substance that was just coming out of our pores and running down in rivulets, just running out. So we're being cleansed of fear. By the time we get done with this that's coming, we're going to be looking around and nothing is going to faze us. We're going to say, oh yeah, okay, what do you got next? So the other part of this with the G-force, as I was looking at it and saying G-force, is that what came to me from Holy Spirit is he said God force. So the force that's being projected and the pressure that's being placed upon us as we move through this accelerated ascension path timeline right now, it is just that pressure. That's God force. That's God doing that. That's God applying the pressure in all these different ways. What different ways? Well, and see, the other thing is that in this compression, and we're getting rid of these impurities, and we are the other part of the vision that I got as I was writing my notes on this was that in this we are also being transformed from black coal to diamonds, right? It takes a lot of pressure to create a diamond from coal, and God is applying that pressure. He is making diamonds of us. Getting a big yes from the Holy Spirit right now. And we already know, if you have been listening to other people, that part of the ascension process and the transformation that we've been slowly undergoing has been um, creating a crystalline matrix in our bodies, transforming from one matrix into the crystalline matrix that will hold the higher vibrations that we need. So that's where we are with the GForce, right? The G-force, the training, the pressure, all of that, the God force. That is God applying the pressure. So I said there are three different things, right, that are going to happen. And this is over a period of the next 3 months, is what I'm given. Three things, 3 months. Accelerated. And it's going to happen so fast, it's going to make your head spin. The first thing that's on our plates right now is the election resolution timeline and that getting finally, whatever that ends up being, that process being completed. President being the actual legal presidential candidate who legally won the election is finally resolved, declared, and that process moves ahead. Now, it doesn't mean from that point that it's going to be seamless. No, because whatever happens, there's still going to be disruption. So we need to be prepared for that. And we've talked about that before. So the second part of the three is COVID. Now, we'd say, well, COVID is the first. We've been dealing with that all year, but we've kind of got to this point of living with it, right? And just accepting as we go along. Well, the next part that's coming, we've already seen precursors of, this whole second wave. And I put that in quotes because I believe that the second wave is totally manufactured hype crap. Agreement. There is no second wave. If you saw Elon Musk's article today, he reported that he went and he had 4 COVID-19 tests done today, Friday the 13th. They were all done in the same facility by the same nurse and analyzed by the same equipment. 2 of those tests came out negative and 2 of them came out positive. So what the heck is going on? Have we got glitches in our COVID computer software that are automatically assigning values? It doesn't matter whether the test is positive or negative. It's just like, oh yeah, we have these 4 tests. Let's see. Well, they're both negative. They're all negative, but let's make these 2 positive. Just, because we got to keep this going. There is a lot of rats. And what is this? This is the year of the rat in China. And COVID is a Chinese originated bioweapon. And I'm saying it right here and now. And Spirit is backing me up. And I have said that from the very first COVID video that I did. And I will try and remember to link that here. Let me make a note. COVID. Okay. But they are creating, manufacturing, making us believe that there is a second wave coming and it's worse than the first. And now they're telling us that we have to stay in our homes in Thanksgiving. They're trying to tell us how many people we can have in our house, rules for how we're going to conduct our dinner. It's insane. If you haven't read what is being put out by Cuomo in New York and Newsom in California, please do so. Because there are others who are going to follow suit to try and continue this farce. And if Biden wins, he has already said that he is going to institute a 4 to 6 week total national lockdown. Hello, baloney. So this is just one of those things, this extra new pressures that's being applied as we come toward the end of the year and we get all of these things jumbling together. So that takes us to the end of the year and on toward the inauguration. And I have seen the inauguration. That was one of the first things they showed me when I started questioning things. And that vision still rings true. And that inauguration is the second inauguration of Donald John Trump. It's what all of us who have been connected to divine source and taking the time to make sure that we were connected to the light and that we were receiving truth, the truth warriors, the spiritual truth warriors, have been receiving ever since he first came down the escalator. We were shown. And before that, you go to somebody like Mark Taylor, who was shown this in 2011. And independently of that, dozens of prophets and other people and seers have been shown this same thing. Does it mean we're all wrong or we're all right? I have to stand by what I receive because I receive it from God. And if I don't stand by it, then none of my words have any meaning. I might as well hang it up. So I'm telling you, the vision I saw of the inauguration was Trump's inauguration. Now, we have COVID second wave. We have the election fallout. Then the third thing, because I could sense, I knew I could feel there was these two things, right, that were coming into this. And then there was like something else. I could feel it. I could sense something heavy in there. So there was a third thing that was going to happen. And the third thing is financial collapse. Now, I did questioning of the Holy Spirit. Now, the financial collapse is mostly going to involve the big banks and big tech. Hello. Now, I don't know the details of how that's supposed to happen, when it happens, what triggers it. I suspect it has something to do with both the election and COVID because big tech has been all over both of those things, censoring heavily in both arenas. I suspect that there is a big fall coming because of those two things, related to those two things. But I am seeing a financial collapse in big banks and in big tech, and also the election machines that we're dealing with. So, And the financial collapse is not limited to this country because it's big banks. It's a global domino effect. But somehow, and I don't know what the mechanism is, I don't see us peons down here being affected to the extent that the ones at the top are. And you would say, well, how's that possible? You know, everything rolls downhill. We would have to be affected. There is something going on that will keep us from feeling much of any ill effects. But there's going to be a lot of fear generated. There's going to be a lot of panic generated. People are going to try and run on the banks. I just got that through me. Um, and I'm also getting that it has something to do with moving to a gold standard. Big yes on that. Now, this is something that, like I said, this is between now and sometime in February is where this time frame of events is taking place. Um, and the other part of this picture, we're all thinking about what about the MSM, the mainstream media, who has been so complicit in the censorship and lying and misdirection, and propagandizing heavily. I mean, not even hiding it, just and the worst part is they believe what they're telling you. Um, but they're victims of programming as well. But they are going to go down hard. We're already seeing that with Fox because of what they did with the election. The rest of them are going to follow, and it's that's all built into this whole election fiasco, and also into this whole ongoing Russian collusion, just on and on and on and on and on and on for the last 4 years. Um, and they're going to come crashing down too, but that's going to be maybe not in the same time frame. You're going to see it start to happen, and it may be a side effect of the financial collapse. Getting a yes on that. But the MSM will already be weakened and in its death throes before that happens. They will be um, hemorrhaging billions just trying to stay afloat because the public's going to leave them, their advertisers are going to leave them, they will have no credence and credibility whatsoever in almost anybody's eyes except for their own little echo chamber. And that echo chamber is getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. As more of this goes on, the pressure is applied. The black tar goop of fear and lies and our attachment to them, our belief in them, false beliefs, programming. I'm getting that too. Dark programming is being flushed from us, right? And everyone that is going through this is part of this process. That's all coming out, and so the they're opening their eyes and everything that it's like being in a new universe. They have been on the other side of the looking glass, and this process is going to pull them back through to this side. Am I saying that I'm on the right side of the looking glass? I'd like to think so. I'm getting Holy Spirit saying, yeah, okay, you are, we're good. Um, and in the environment we're in, I hold open. I believe everything that I'm shown, and I make sure I spend you don't know how much time every day searching for truth. confirming truth, releasing everything that could, be a source of deceit and disinformation, making sure I'm connected divinely with the one true God of all creation and not some false God hanging out here that's trying to hijack me, because I know about those things now. So we shall see what we shall see. But in any case, this is an insane adventure. Yeah, I wrote on one of my posts today, be ready. We're past armor of God, peeps, because what's going on is not just armor of God. I mean, most of the bad guys are going to be so busy trying to attack and deal with all of this other stuff that's being thrown at them. Bing, 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 bing. This cascade of disaster that's coming on them, that they aren't going to have a whole lot of time for us. Now, that doesn't mean don't protect yourself and don't shield. Absolutely do every day. And clear away, cut and cauterize your cords of attachment to the collective conscious and unconscious, as I have shared with you before. Make sure that you're keeping yourself grounded and centered. Be a weeble, right? You're a weeble. You've got a tube of light running through you, grounded. You may sway a little bit, you may rock back and forth, but you're going to come back to center very quickly, because your own truth meter, what my oldest son calls the bullshit meter, is going to be operating at high efficiency. So everything that goes on initially you may go, "Whoo, what is that?" and go into something, but immediately the other part of you that knows better is going to say, "Oh no, they're trying it again. Not buying it. What else you got? Is that it? You got to do better than that." And it comes to the point where there is nothing that these forces can do that are going to sway us from holding our position and holding our light, because we have seen their true colors, and we don't have to go out there and do battle with them. I mean, I am, but all of the rest of you don't have to. Your job is to hold the light and hold the line and not give in to everything they're throwing at us and it's coming around to us. You know, Gandhi was all about peaceful um, resistance, right? The sit-ins. I think that we all ought to just do whatever the heck we want for Thanksgiving and let them try and arrest the entire nation. Let them do that and figure out what they're going to do with all of us when they do that. Try and give us fines. Let us take it to court. Wouldn't that be fun? We are not sitting back and being mealy mouthed complacent beings of light anymore. We're done with that. But we aren't going and rioting in the street, killing people, maiming people, calling them names, doing nasty things like that, ruining people's lives just because they disagree with us or we disagree with them. No. We are applying the statutes and the rules of law and the rules of God. We don't need to go out and do physical battle in this spiritual war, because that's what it is. It's a spiritual war. And we're fighting it at higher levels. And that's where it's going to be won, because this is a 5D environment. So that's what I wanted to share with you, team. That was the vision. And yep, it's going to be. Joe Biden may have been a little prescient when he said, called the, he forecast a dark winter. Well, it's going to be a little rough, but the darkness, it's going to be a dark winter for the darkness. They are not going to be happy because that is just getting cleared out. Just light and forces of light and right plowing through the mess and clearing the road. There's a lot going to happen. That's the greatest amount of detail that I can possibly give you at this time. And I don't know, I don't think I want to give you any more detail because when we get tied up in detail, that's a place where our ego resides, and we want to stay away from that. The how, what, when, why, where. That's all ego. Ego wants to know, wants to be able to plan, wants to be able to hold on, wants to be able to project fear from the past into the future, and we don't want that. No. All right? Trust in the process, trust in God, trust in his angels and his forces and legions of light. And I ask in all of our names and agree with God to have him loose these forces to do his will according to his plan, which is so brilliant that we can't even possibly understand it until it's all done. We ask him to loose those forces and we come into agreement with him now. And we're going to keep coming into agreement with him every day. Keep praying for God's plan to be completed, installed. Getting a yes on that. And that you can feel that. That's going up now. Every day, come into agreement with God's plan and pray that it is completed and comes to fruition. I don't care whether you are a Democrat or a Republican or a Greener or a Libertarian or a total independent, if you're a spiritual, if you're an evangelical, if you're a Catholic, if you're Jewish, I don't care. Because God's plan is the plan. You don't agree with that plan, you think it's a bunch of malarkey, that's on you. But God is the one calling the shots, and I, for one, like it that way. And I want it to stay that way. We've had enough of man calling the shots and us acquiescing to allowing man to call the shots. You want to know something? Let me tell you a quick story. In the beginning of 2008, I was let go from a job I'd had for 12 years, and I was at the executive level. I was miserable because I had gotten literally my soul had started to pull, my soul and my job had started to pull apart in different directions, getting further and further apart. And so I got so miserable at my job. I say I got so miserable they had to fire me. And of course, for benefits and everything else, there's no way I was just going to quit, right? If you quit, you don't get unemployment. It's the way it works in this country. But I was done. I was a mess. I weighed over 200 pounds. I was on the edge of a nervous breakdown, literally. Um, my left brain burnt, I mean, yeah, my left brain burnout. Really, I experienced what burnout is. I mean, literally, and to this day, I don't handle information the same way I used to. And that's not a bad thing per se. It's not helpful when I'm dealing in the 3D world and all of the 3D stuff I've got to deal with. But now I process information through right brain, and that's where I receive most of my information. Right, is telepathically, spiritually, energetically, directly. I'm not reading something on a line and having to interpret what those words mean and go through doing that anymore. So I had gotten to that point was I was miserable. I was a mess. I had gotten fired. My God, I had only failed at one other thing in my entire life. And that was in college with a physics exam in a class that I was out partying the night before instead of studying for. And I was valedictorian in a high school class, all of that. I never failed at anything before. And my job was the last thing, that last pillar of my life that was taken away. Previous to that, 6 years before, 8 years before, my ex husband left. And I had been praying to God to fix the situation, to fix the marriage. And, just every day I was sitting in prayer with God and all of that. And when my husband actually finally left, had no intention of fixing the marriage, I got so mad at God because he didn't make it go the way I wanted that I didn't talk to him for like 6 years. And when I got when I got back in touch with God was after another very unhappy ending to what should have been a really good weekend with somebody I was dating, and we wound up. He just he sent me home early, and so I got home, and by the grace of God, I'm surfing the internet, and what do I find? The Secret, right, by Rhonda Byrne. The Secret. They had out. I don't know how many of you remember it at that time in 2006 that The Secret was produced online. The Secret movie was produced and loaded up online, and you could watch it online. So that very day, I was all upset and didn't know what was going on. And I was guided to that. I paid the $4 or $5, whatever it was, and sat there and watched it. And that was my second awakening. My first came many years before. And all of a sudden, all of the lights went on, and I was like, oh my God, I do have control. I remember that. I do have control. I'm doing all this to me. So from that point on, I started getting back in touch with God. Not as much as I was before, but at least it was like, yeah, okay, fine, whatever. And so in 2008, sometime in the end of February of 2008, I finally got to the point where I was just like, I was done. I didn't know where to go, what to do, what I was supposed to be doing next. I knew that I wasn't ever going back to where I'd come from. That arena wasn't happening. And at that point, I sat down with God and I said, God, look, here I am. I have been, because I was angry with him, right? I said, screw you. You didn't do what I wanted. I'm going to take care of things. So I said, I have been trying to do these things, do everything myself all these years. And I got to tell you, right now, I am not too terribly happy with the results. Literally, that's what I said. I am not very happy with the results. So here I am, God. I'm placing myself in your hands. Do with me what you want. Show me where you want me to be. Boom! As soon as I did that, the things that started to happen would have just blow your socks off if I went through that. I'm not doing that tonight. But I'm telling you, if we put ourselves in God's hands and trust Him to deliver for our highest good, boy, is He going to deliver. He's going to show us. Does that mean it's all wine and roses and good stuff? No. I had a long, rough journey. But at the same time, He lit a fire in my soul that wouldn't let me do anything else. I had to keep going no matter what. I kept slogging through. That's the fire you've got to let God light in your soul right now, tonight. And if you agree to let God do that for you, all you have to do right now is hold your hand up and say, yes, God, show me what you want. Show me your plan, and I am supporting your plan in my life. Amen. That's all you have to do. And just wait for things to start happening, for situations to come up, for people to say things to you, for an opportunity to appear, for something to just, you see something online and all of a sudden you're like riveted. You don't know why, but boom, there's something that just draws you to it. Things start happening. Absolutely. So I hope that some of you have taken that pledge with me tonight, have asked God and agreed for God to be the one guiding your life. And once God starts to guide your life, you've got to let go. Remember, we got to let go of the reins and let go of the idea that we have to do it all and that we're the ones who are in charge of all of it. You know, yes, we are in charge. We create our lives, but we create it from a higher place of being. We don't really create our lives from all of these 3D mental things and working our butts off and creating all the time. The conditions of our lives are created at a higher place. Let God take that over. Let God lead you and let God lead this country where it needs to be, whatever that ends up looking like. And we have to trust in the process that whatever that ends up looking like, by the time we're done with it, is going to be a pretty cool thing. Because right now, and at every point in the process that I have gone through, the losses, the misery that I have gone through, at every point along that path, I would not have traded it for anything else. I never considered saying no. Well, I had some arguments with God where I said, I can't do this anymore this way. But it didn't have anything to do so much with conditions external to me. It had more to do with my ability to learn what He was trying to teach me. So I leave you tonight and I say, go with God, be with God, trust in God, and let God do the work in your life that you have asked Him to do. And let it go. Go about the things that are in front of you every day. Stay centered. Be the weeble. Keep in agreement with God and His plan for you, for your family, for our country, for the world. It's an awesome plan. It's a brilliant plan. We have already seen so many things that just boggle our minds. grab your popcorn, sit back, put your feet up, figuratively, and let's watch the rest of this grandest of screenplays that has ever been written. You know, the greatest story ever told is not going to hold a candle to what's going on these last 4 or 5 years. It's unbelievable. And I am so thrilled and grateful, awestruck, and joy filled um, that I get to be a part of it. I get to witness it. Everybody that is here now chose to be, and you're contributing to this. And it's wonderful. At the higher levels, it's wonderful. Sometimes it's not so good down here, but it's it's pretty darn good. When you see the finished product, you're going to be just like, "Wow, did we do that? Did we do that? Yes, we did that." So, good night everybody. Love you much. See you soon. Bye-bye.